Hey everyone, welcome back. Icon here. Thanks for checking out another episode of Esports Analysis. Today we have a potential, now I know that they're on different sides of the brackets, but we have a potential matchup that we might see in CDL London. So we're hopping on board with Formal as he and the Chicago Huntsmen go to battle against Attach, Accuracy, Zuma, Temp, all those guys over at the New York Subliners. So again, these two teams are on opposite sides of the bracket, but who knows, maybe they would end up meeting once it gets down to bracket play. Once the group stages are over. So I picked this just because we haven't really seen this map too often recently. It seems like it's been a lot of Hackney Yard. It's been a lot of Gun Runner, even a little bit of Petrograd mix in. But those first two maps are the ones that we've been covering a lot just because they're the ones that are played the most. Rammaza we usually only see once. We only see it in Hardpoint and we don't see it after that. So I wanted to hop in and do this one just because, I don't know, to switch things up a little bit, and we are hopping back on board with Chicago. So this first hardpoint is almost out of the way. There's only a few seconds left, and it is going to rotate back to the second hardpoint. So if you look at the minimap in the top right-hand corner of your screen, this is where we're going over here. And it seems right now that spawns are a little bit hectic. With Formal dying, we'll be able to see where he comes up. My guess would be ammo. So they are spawning ammo. So if you're watching that mini-map in the top right-hand corner, they're spawning in ammo. And then New York is spawning back here at back construction. And that's the spawn that you want. So you want to have this spawn just because it's really easy to get into two. And then you could always go like top plat and then shoot people as they try to go over top of that cut. You could also send somebody in sandbags. And if you have somebody at sandbags, then you would be able to kill anybody from Chicago that might be looking to go bottom plat and pinch from mid. So as you're in the second hardpoint back there, that is absolutely the place that you want to be. And if you look at the score in the bottom left-hand corner, that is very apparent, right? It looks like New York is basically going to end up maxing out a lot of those points there on the second hardpoint, as they should. That's one of the strongest hardpoints on this map. Now, one of the things that I really enjoy about this map is that all of these hardpoints seem to go back and forth. So there are some maps where if you're holding down, like St. Petrograd, for example, if you want to, so if you're playing St. Petrograd, you want to hold down the right side of the map for the first hardpoint so that you have spawns for second. At third, now again, if you're talking about just spawns, then maybe you'd want to hold on to the other side. But 4 and 5, you also want to be on the right side of the map. So 1, 2, 4, and 5, all of those hard points, to get the dominant spawn for those hard points, you want to be on the right side of the map. I like this because it really ping-pongs back and forth the entire time. So right now we're in this third hard point, and you'll see that if you look at the score in the bottom left-hand corner, the score is evening up. And the whole reason why is because Chicago is spawning here, and New York is spawning out mid-map, and they're doing a nice job of just cutting them down as they're going bottom platform, as they're trying to rotate through ruins, over through pillars, and getting in. So they did a nice job of holding down the spawns and the time for this third, and then now we're kind of back at it, right? So now as it's going construction, it does look like Chicago's a little bit late. That's a nice three-piece there from Formal, but Chicago is super late on this rotation. So again, this one's the complete opposite. So when we're in the fourth hill, right now New York is spawning this back construction area, so they're easy to get in. If you're New York, a few things to watch here. So the way that you max out time here is if you have somebody up at this top bridge location, which is exactly where Formal just got through from. So that's a big mistake there for New York. You do have to have somebody watching top bridge so that nobody flanks down your right side like they just did right there. You also want to have somebody a lot of times up here into bridge. So I know you can barely see that on screen, but it's at the very top of the screen. But if you have somebody up here, then now, so this is bottom bridge, you can watch dirt. So anybody that might be transferring over from dirt, you can be aware and you can catch all of that. So that was a pretty poor job from New York in terms of locking down that hard point. They had all of the setups you could possibly have, and it just seems like whenever you watch New York, there's just a time or two like that that ends up happening. And a lot of that is what cost them from winning a lot of their matches. Now, as we go back to the other side, again, ping-ponging back to the other side of the map, right now Chicago was set up, and they ended up getting slayed out and spawning out. So right now Chicago is spawning over here towards ammo, which is not the spawn that you want. So New York is most likely spawning back here, so back barbershop, and that allows them to get into the back. It allows them to get into pillars, so they can very easily get in and defend this hard point. And it looks like this has just flipped. So if you push out that back spawn, because essentially what was happening is Chicago was spawning over here at ammo. They got enough kills to push through, and as soon as they pushed through, that caused New York to spawn out. And now you can see that New York is essentially giving up these last 5 seconds. They're just going to rotate, and as it goes back to the other side of the map, we're just restarting what we've talked about already. Now, as this rotates here, I do want to explain something. So, say we're on this 5th hard point over here, okay? Again, this has nothing to do with the gameplay. I just kind of want to talk through this strategy. If you're the team that's spawning ammo, what happens is if you go here, so over towards this front, this Godheady right here. So if you go through there, or if you rotate back here through this back alley, then you're probably going to die, right? Because essentially, if you're somebody from New York, you could just sit back here with an AR, and you can beam both of those people as they come through. So what you'll see a lot of teams try to do is they'll send somebody up top platform, then they'll jump out this window. And when they jump out this window, now all of a sudden they can pinch that area. So as you go and as you watch that 5th hard point in the next set of rotations, we'll see who exactly is spawning out. If I was in Codcaster mode, you could really see it, but just pay attention to that. We'll see who's spawning ammo and see if they send anybody up towards top plat. That way they can hit that flank, they can pinch, and then try to spawn that other team out so that they can get the majority of the time on that 5th hard point. And again, so right now the score is basically tied. And the biggest reason for that is just because New York's been able to hold down this 2nd hard point. Again, on this map, this 2nd hard point is extremely dominant. It's the most dominant hard point on this map just because it's so hard to get back there. There are so few chokes that you really, if you're the team that's in there, it's so easy to watch that. So Chicago, if they end up losing this is going to be why. Now, I will say that, again, this is typical of a New York scrim. So I've been watching a few of these matches. I think this is the 4th map, maybe the 5th map, and New York has performed extremely well. They've even won a couple hard points prior to this. But this is just why I was so shocked at the end of Minnesota, because New York seems to be really scrappy. They play so well, and for them to get blown out in New York, it just didn't really make sense to me. So I'm looking for them to bounce back, to rebound when they're in London, but I just want to see them play better because this is the potential that they have. With that said, again, going back to the other side of the hill, now that we're in Barbershop again on the 2nd set of rotations, I think what I'm going to do at this point in time is let's go ahead and listen in, because now we're getting pretty close to the end of this here. So I do want to hear what they're talking about in terms of rotations, in terms of strategy, in terms of where people are at and where they're dying from. So with that, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to turn up the volume. Let's listen in and see what they're talking about.
This is fine. Watch for an early plat rotation. Watch for an early rotation. One's beat on, and one's dirt door. He's absolutely door dead. More plat. Dead. You want a minute? Taking a shortcut.
Those are insane kills from Formal.
Plat.
Yeah, I don't know. They're not coming.
One's top plat.
I'm playing plat. The deep flank is.
I'll go time. I'll go top.
So as this is about to rotate back to the other side of the map, over to 4th hill over here towards construction, you want somebody pushed up over there towards dirt. And it looks like they have an SMG there. I can't see exactly who it is, but there is somebody pushed out in towards dirt. Now you want to get somebody up top. From what I can tell, there's nobody watching up top. And that's exactly where I think that was Seth just died from. So they're coming across bridge. There's nobody up there to get the choke as they're running across bridge. And then now look at the kill feed. It's 6 down. There's 7 straight kills there from New York, and it's just a disaster for Chicago. You have to get pushed out a little bit instead of turtling inside the hard point.
Hookah dead.
Rugs, I can see Rugs a second. Hang on.
Was he top rugs?
Homie's one hookah. Tell me back up.
I'm coming loading with you. Hold on.
Oh,
let me on all.
I don't see anything. It's fine, just go. I spawn close because
Above me platter thing, guys.
Got him?
Good job.
That's a big win. So Attach killed gunless, and those last 15 seconds or so ended up going New York's way instead of going Chicago's way. So that's a massive win for Attach, because now as we rotate back to the other side, whoever was just out back, it looks like it might have been Seth. Now it does look like New York's going to have spawns as it rotates back to this Ruins hardpoint. So if I had to guess right now, my guess would be that New York is probably going to end up winning this, because this is such a hard point. Yeah, a hard point. P5 is so hard to break. We'll see what happens.
One in the back. I spawn for
dead.
Guys, on the back.
He's deep back.
Yo, when you spawn push on my mid, okay?
I will.
Knocked it out.
I'm trying to watch the pillars.
I spawn deep.
See, I would like to see Formal push up top platform. They've already got hill presence, so if Formal's top platform, he can shoot above that ladder, and he can get shots into people as they're rotating from back behind Barbershop over to Ruins.
You rotate, you go back. You're saying no, I'm off. No, front of the one plat. Plat fast. Nice.
I spawn plat.
Does look like the last 8 seconds here are going to go towards Chicago. So as we rotate, again, back to the first side of the map, New York has owned that left side of the map as all of these rotations, first rotation and second rotation through first and second hardpoint. New York has owned that. So it's coming down to the wire here. Chicago has to throw smoke to enable to get in.
You jump across me. One more to right.
Top third, Don.
Third on.
Made it third.
Third. Dead. One outer hill.
He's outer hill.
Inner hill.
He's
Still dirt. Sandbags, weak. Fuck.
There's a fucking
Sandbags. One still dirt.
Yeah, he's bottom it.
You're trying to shoot toes. Just stay inner side hill.
weak.
We spawned out.
He's outer hill.
Plat Donnie weak.
Plat dead.
Dead. One hill.
Spawn deep.
I'm not going to get him off this. Hang on. Come with me.
I'm interested to see if they'll win here.
I think he's trying to get in. Left side. One close center behind you. 2 bar side. Outer. Two. One more. Nice. Oh,
nice kills. That's probably going to be it, though. So as this one comes to a close, it just seems like Chicago, it was just really easy to tell where they were coming from, right? They just pushed that top rugs area over and over again. So if you're New York, you only had to watch one position. You knew exactly where they were coming from the entire time. So you didn't have to worry about dirt and somebody pinching from behind you. You didn't have to worry about somebody mid-map and climbing up that ladder that's over there. So if I was a coach for Chicago, towards the end, they had about 25 seconds before that last hard point was up, right? It was like 230, 225, somewhere in that range. So rather than kind of freak out and just push top bridge, take your time. Everybody push as a team. Send a couple top rugs. Send a couple through dirt. Send one through the middle of the map. And if you can win those team gun battles, then you have a better opportunity or a better chance of winning that final hill because you're hitting it from multiple angles. So if we're looking here, accuracy with 35, attached with 34. Again, this is what New York is capable of. Will we see it in London? I don't know. I think that they're capable of it, but I just want to see them perform. So with that, guys, if you're new around here, make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you have any comments whatsoever, make sure you leave them down below. I try to reply to all of my comments. I love the interactions. So don't forget to head on your way without leaving a like. So hit that like button, and I will catch you in the next one. We'll see you.